Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, I wanted to do a video discussing the top meta decks currently and what you would be seeing in King of Games and Legend. And I just kind of wanted to explain more specifically about this deck right here, the Shiranui 30-card deck, right? Now, it says average deck size of 25 cards right there, but the one that I want to talk about is the 30-card variant rather than the 20-card variant. Now, first and foremost, if you don't know where we are on duellinksmeta.com. If you want to get better at the game, first of all, check out this website. It gives you tier lists, it gives you the top decks. It gives you a gem guide as to what to spend your gems on and what decks to build using your gems. It gives you updates and leaks and stuff like that. It shows you what to farm and how to farm and the events that are going on. It has everything. It is made by Decade, also known as Duel Links Meta. You can follow him on Twitch at Duel Links Meta, as well as on YouTube. Same thing, Duel Links Meta. So check him out. He is incredible. He runs this. He's got an insanely active community and is just very good overall. So I would highly suggest checking out this resource if you really want to get better at the game. This is what I've used to get good as quickly as I have. Now, real quick, let's talk about this skill. The skill you can get using Yami Yugi or Arcana by a drop reward. It is Spell Specialist, and if your deck contains 5 or more spell cards with different names, you have an increased chance of having a spell card in your starting hand. I'm guessing this was originally created for something like spell books that do have a lot of different spells that they consistently want to have within their hand. But what are they using it for? Well, right here they have the grass. That grass looks greener, right? Which, if you have more cards in your deck than your opponent does, send cards from the top of your deck to the graveyard so you have the same number of cards in your deck as your opponent. Basically, if you're running 30 cards and your opponent's running 20, you mill 10 cards. Now, why is this so good with Shiranui? Well, all of Shiranui's effects, first of all, they can synchro summon from the graveyard, right? That's insane. Actually insane, right? Second of all, Kazuki has an effect in the graveyard. A lot of them can banish from the graveyard to activate effects. Now, really what makes this so impressive is this card right here, Burgeoning Whirlflame, which is a counter trap. However, you don't use it as a counter trap, you use it in the graveyard. Because, guess what? You can't even use it as a counter trap. Because when this trap card is activated, send one Lavel monster from your hand to the graveyard, negate the activation, and destroy it. Well, turns out, we're not even playing any Lavel cards, right? Within the Shiranui deck. Now, the reason I'm not doing an actual deck profile of this is because I don't have these cards. And I don't have these cards, and so I can't really make the deck and show you it. But I also kind of wanted to talk a little bit more about how this affects the meta, and it's better just to do it on this website. And I wanted to show you exactly the best way to kind of play this. So, why would we play this? It's for this second effect. If this card is in your graveyard, you can banish 2 fire monsters from your graveyard, add this card to your hand. Now, all of these Shiranui cards have an effect when they are banished, right? For example, Solitaire. If this card is banished, you can target a banished Shiranui card, or 2 instead, if Shiranui style Synthesis is on the field. Anyway, special summon them, right? Squire. If this card is banished, you draw a card, then discard a card, right? Pretty good. This one, Samurai. If this card is banished, you can target a Shiranui monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand, right? Again, pretty good. Spirit Master. Pop a card. If it's banished, target a face-up card your opponent controls, destroy it, right? we're only running, with this deck, you only run 3 tuners. 1 level 3, or 2 level 3s, and 1 level 2 or 2 level 2s, depending on what you want, right? Depending on whether you want, more level 7s, or you want to go into your level 10 faster and easier, right? So, Grass That's Greener basically just allows you to hopefully mill the Burgeoning Whirlflame, which allows you to get access to a lot more of these Synchro Summons, and a lot more of your Shiranui cards because of the activation within the grave, right? Now we're going to talk quickly about the other Shiranui cards, or the tuners real quick. Now, you contribute this card, Spectral Sword Shade, to target 2 of your banished zombie monsters, which is why you want to banish these cards, to including a Shiranui monster, except Shiranui Spectral Sword of the Sunset. Anyway, important. Special summon them in defense position, but their effects are negated. But what you can do is you can banish 2 of your cards, right, in order to synchro summon for one of your monsters, right? One of your synchro monsters, right? So for example, say you banished the level 2 and a level 4. Well, you activate this guy's effect within, or you summon this guy, you tribute him, you summon 2 of them, and then you immediately go into your level 6, whether that is Samurai Saga or your Archfiend Zombie's Skull, right? So, that's that. I guess you cannot special summon them. Oh, you can only special summon zombie-type monsters, right? For the rest of the turn. You can only use that once per turn. Now, what about the level 2? If this card is in your graveyard, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can target 1 non-tuner zombie-type monster in your graveyard, banish both it and this card, and if you do, special summon 1 zombie-type synchro monster from your extra deck, whose level equals the total levels those 2 monsters had, right? So, again, it's another way to synchro summon from the grave, right? You can play this guy onto the field, and then you tribute and synchro summon. Or, if this guy is in the grave, you tribute off, or you basically banish 2 of your cards, which also activates probably one of their effects, in order to synchro summon, right? And now, quickly, let's talk about this Gozuki, which is a really important tech card. What it does is you can send a zombie-type monster from your deck to the graveyard if it's on the field, which is really good for getting something like Spectral Sword on or into the graveyard, or really anything else that you wanted to be in the graveyard, right? And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can banish a zombie-type monster from your graveyard and special summon a zombie-type monster from your hand, right? You can only use each effect once per turn. Pretty standard. But that means that if you send it using That Grass Looks Greener, you can activate its effect to banish something to start your plays, right? You could, or to disrupt theirs, right? Say you send Gozuki and then you banish Spirit Master. Well, now you can pop whatever card that they have on the field, right? Whatever face-up monster they have on the field, right? Or say you banish Squire, right? Now you can grab up another card to discard another one, right? Or say you had, I don't know, say you had already banished using your Spectral Sword. Well, then you activate Gozuki to banish your Solitaire to put those 2, to put one of them back onto the field, right? So, there you go. There are a lot of options. Now, quickly we're going to talk about the spell cards and why we're running this weird combination. First of all, we're only running 1 Sark. You only run 1 because, again, with Spell Specialist, you want to get Grass That's Greener the most amount of times. But you need 5 spell cards with different names, right? So we're running 5 spell cards, but only 1 of each of them. 1 Gold Sark, because it can banish a card which is good for activating their effects, their banished effects. An enemy controller, just because it's a really good card, and it's a spell card, right? Then you're running, obviously, the triple grass that's greener. Mistaken Arrest. What does this card even do? Until the end of your next turn, after this card resolves, neither player can add cards from their deck to their hand except by drawing them. Meaning, any search effects, something like Banishment of the Dark Lords, right? Something like Invoker, right? You wouldn't be able to search for Invocation. Something like Magician's Circle wouldn't be able to activate, right? All of these other effects that allow you to search for cards, Black Wings, Black Whirlwind wouldn't be able to be used, right? They can't use it. And it's a quick play spell, which means you can set it and then flip it over on the opponent's turn. Pretty freaking good if you ask me, right? So, they can't add cards from their deck to their hand. Pretty good. Then you have World Legacy Clash. Again, it is a banish to activate the effect of one of your monsters. Plus, it's just overall still a really good card. Then running, obviously, some Floodgate, Trap Holes, and Canadias. Just very standard back row cards, back row traps in particular. Plus, having your Canadia get milled isn't actually that bad if you do activate something else, because then it can summon itself onto the field if you activate a trap, right? Now, quickly I want to talk about the Synchro Summon monsters. So you have a level 6 that gets into a level 8, and a level 8 that goes into a level 10, as well as a level 7 that are all Shiranui cards that are all there just to, like, they're your main boss monsters. Then you also have a Black Rose Dragon just to wipe the field, and an Archfiend Zombie Skull, because zombie monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects, so it's pretty good there. Just something to kind of keep your cards on the field, right? Prevent something like Treacherous Trap Hole from destroying your cards, because you're running only zombies, right? Now, what do all of these cards do? Well, Samurai Saga, once per turn during either player's turn, you could target one of your banished zombie-type monsters, shuffle it into the deck, and if you do, change to defense position all monsters your opponent controls with attack less than or equal to that monster's, right? So, not terribly useful, but it is still good to get something back into the deck, and then you can potentially switch things into defense position. If this card is banished, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls. It loses 500 attack. You can only special summon this once per turn, right? So, what you can do is you can summon this guy and then activate, I believe, Spectral Swords effect, or you could activate, or Spectral Sword Shades effect, or Spectral Swords effect, or Solitaire's effect, or many of the other effects to banish them in order to get out your second level 2 tuner, in order to get out the Shiranui Shogun Saga, which you would synchro summon using this guy, and your Shogun Saga. And Shogun Saga, you can normally win with this card, but sometimes you do want to go up to the level 10. But this one's level 8. If this card is special summoned, you can banish a zombie-type monster from your graveyard. This card gains attack equal to the banished monster's original attack until the end of this turn. If this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can target one of your banished zombie-type monsters with 0 defense, return it to the graveyard. You can only special summon it once per turn, right? So, basically what you can do is you can synchro summon using your Samurai Saga to get into Shogun Saga, and then use Shogun Saga's effect to banish this guy, right? To banish it, to bring up your attack 2,500, making him a 5,500 beater, and also decreasing the attack of one monster on your opponent's side of the field by 500. Insane, right? So, Shiranui, Shogun Saga, really good, and can win you the game a lot of times just by beating over something that's already in attack position, right? Then, you could say you wanted to get into a level 10. Well, you can do that. Again, very similar thing. use Gold Sark, use, you know, Gazuki, do something like that to banish, to get your Spectral Sword back onto the field, to Synchro Summon up to a level 10, and then you can use your Shiranui Sun Saga, which, if this card is special summoned, you can return any number of your zombie-type Synchro monsters that are banished or in your graveyard to the extra deck. Then you can destroy cards your opponent controls equal to the number of cards returned. So, if you went from 6 to 8 to 10, that's 2 cards you can destroy easy, right? You just summon this guy and then pop 2 cards. Pretty dope. If a zombie-type monster you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish a Shiranui monster from your graveyard instead. You can special summon him only once per turn. Right? So again, pretty good protection from destruction, as well as overall just really good effects, popping cards and stuff like that. Right? Now, we have Squire Saga, which is a level 7, which you get from a level 3 and a level 4, obviously. And what you get is you can special summon this card once per turn. Once per turn, you can banish one face-up monster you control or in your graveyard, then apply these effects. Again, this is why you want that grass looks greener. So many effects activate by having cards in the graveyard, and you can banish super effectively. So there you go. Banish from the graveyard, then apply these effects in sequence depending on what the monster was before it was banished. If it was any of these, zombie, you can have all monsters you control gain 300 attack, right? So first you apply that. All of your monsters are zombie. 300 attack, all of your monsters gain it permanently. Fire, you can destroy a spell or trap card on the field, right? If it's a synchro, you can destroy a monster on the field. So, for example, if you used Shiranui Squire Saga on one of your other Shiranui monsters, or say you Black Rosed the field, right? Destroyed everything, and then use this effect, you wouldn't boost up by 300, but you would be able to at least destroy a spell and trap card and a monster on the field. That's why Squire Saga can be extremely useful. It pops, it boosts, it does everything, right? So, that's what it is. If you want to know, here's the side deck that you could use. Ninetail Fox, also very common in this deck. Basically, what it does is if this card is in your hand or graveyard, you contribute 2 monsters, special summon this card, or you can, and then you can only use the effect of Ninetail Fox once per turn. If this card is special summoned from the graveyard, or if this special summoned card from the graveyard attacks a defense position monster and inflicts piercing battle damage, if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 2 Fox tokens. So, there you go. It's basically a good way to prevent, like, a floodgate play, right? Say you summon your tuner onto the field. Well, they go to floodgate it. You could just activate this to special summon your card back onto the field during your turn, right? Which allows you for another play, and you could potentially get another level 8 out due to it being a level 6. So, again, Nine-Tailed Fox, a really good tech card. So, what I want to do now is I want to quickly talk about, I kind of want to show you some of the combos that you can do by going into the deck tester. So let me hop into that real quick, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, so welcome back. I have recreated the deck that we saw. Same deck, basically. And so now what we're going to do is we are going down to the deck tester, and we are going to go... hello. There we go. Play deck. So, here we go. Here is a hand, right? Not the best of hand. Obviously, I'm not starting with spell specialist. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give myself a grass that's greener. Cool. We're actually going to put one of those cards back into the deck. Any card didn't matter. So here we go. We actually have a really good play here. say we opened up with the grass that looks greener. So we start with grass that looks greener and send the top cards. Here we go. How do I send to the graveyard? We're just going to do this. Just going to send them like this. I don't know how many that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, I sent 12. Whoops. Shoot. I guess we're returning those two. Sure. Something like that, right? So now here in the grave, we do have a Gazuki, which means that we can actually activate. We didn't get a Burgeoning Whirlflame, but we can still banish one of our zombie-type monsters, right? So, here, we can banish our Spectral Sword. No, not a Spectral Sword. That's not what we want. We can... yeah, so we could activate Shiranui Samurai. We can banish that guy. So let's grab him up and banish him. And then that allows us to grab up our Spectral Sword to our hand. We actually did mill a lot of pretty bad cards to mill, but that's beside the point, right? So now we have a Spectral Sword Shade within our hand and a Spectral Sword as well as a Squire Saga. Now, or a Shiranui Squire, right? Now, Squire, when this card is normal summon, you can special summon a Shiranui Spectral Sword from your hand or deck, right? Pretty good. That allows you to special summon a bunch of other monsters, right? And go into your level 6. So here we go. We normal summon this guy, right? Also, you can't special summon monsters for the rest of your turn except zombie monsters. That's fine. Then we are actually going to... Whoops. Return it to the deck. View the deck. We're going to grab up this guy, the Spectral Sword, special summon him. And then we are going to go into our level 6 Samurai Saga. Send those two to the grave. Then I can target one of my banished zombie-type monsters, shuffle it into the deck. And then I can change the battle positions and stuff like that. Now, I could do that, or say I didn't want to do that. And instead, I wanted to continue to have the... say I wanted this hand, right? Still wanted this hand. After banishing the Samurai, we could have instead gone for the Spectral Sword, which allows me to tribute this card to target 2 of the banished zombie-type monsters, including a Shiranui monster. Now, the problem with that is that we don't have a Burgeoning Whirlflame, but say that we did, right? Say we activate Burgeoning Whirlflame within the grave, we're able to actually instead banish, 3 Shiranui cards, right? And we send the Spirit Master and Gazuki to the banish pile. Then we can activate Spectral Sword, tribute him off to grab up the Samurai Saga, or the Shiranui Samurai and the Spirit Master, right? Or say that we had our tuner out there instead of the Spirit Master or something like that. Boom, there you go. Now you can summon into a level 6 again. So, there you go. And then, yeah, there are a lot of plays that you can do. If you want to test it out, figure it out, come over here to the deck tester, and then you can find out how to do it there. And a lot of the decks you can find, if you want to just search it, you can search it there. You can make your own deck, and stuff like that. So, highly recommend using this resource to your advantage, and be on the lookout for Shiranui grass that looks greener. That grass looks greener. 30 card deck. It's insane. It probably is time to start main decking Lancia if you can, just to prevent the banishment of cards, to prevent them from actually getting their plays on, right? So there you go. There's the deck. Hopefully that helped. But yeah, that's going to be it for this episode. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, a like is very much so appreciated. And if you want to see more content like this, just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.